I'm not sure who asked the question, but I think I mentioned button color, and being a Brit, I used the English spelling, and one of the comments back was, "Surely it's color spelt without the U," and it it's a bit of a fun one, but actually it made me think about how certain websites default to maybe a more Americanized term. So
Mm.
shipping or cart instead of bag and trolley. And it can be a really nice, easy one if you're having a UK site, UK audience, but Shopify is using, billing and shipping and cart terms. It could be a good thing to look at, localizations of calling it, delivery address or shopping bag. Things like that. There's not always a definite result, but I do think that localization can sometimes help if there's a short question that people have. There are small, subtle differences that you do tend to notice in regions. But a lot of times you'll go with the default that's in Shopify, and that is sort of more of an American audience, I would say.
Is there an it depends for localization, truly? Or is it something that you should just do? Like, I, I,
Mm.
the whole theme is this, it depends. And I'm trying to rationalize in my head why you wouldn't localize something.
Yeah. I would say that it depends is to the level of doing it, of the cost implications for maybe localizing um, particular product elements and things like that.
Yeah.
Not that I would say that you want to go with the default language, but it could be the place where you start if you wanted to do that. I've seen lots of places just use the sort of Google Translate element instead of having to translate every single piece. I've also seen where organizations have wanted to personalize content specific to an audience, maybe a developer or a CIO or a CTO. They want to talk differently. And my kind of it depends on that one is, yeah, it makes sense that personalization, it's more specific, it's more relevant, but there's a big overhead there of you're going to have to write, more copy. That means it takes more development. You need additional resource. If you want to make changes, then you have to think about the personalization that's involved. And you may not be getting it right on the first instance. And then you're just replicating the process two, three, four times. So I think, localization or personalization of copy it depends on the scale. I mean, it's pretty quick to change some of those default values in Shopify. That's probably just a just do it element. Again, like what's the risk? Would you run it as an experiment? Back to the button color one. Probably not going to give you huge lifts, but it might just be something that gives confidence. And again, if you're looking at a website and you've never seen the brand before and it's all in American, you're thinking, where's their warehouse? Is it drop shipping from somewhere else? Do I know where this is based? And having, localized translations just reduces that comfort, increases that confidence. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say before you go ahead into doing a lot of copy changes, just maybe factor in the effort involved.
One of the things I wanted to draw more attention to was the localization. In theory, if you can do it, just do it. However, there is that ROI calculation of like effort to rewrite the site. And if you're just using Google Translate, you may actually decrease your brand trust rather than increase it if the translations just don't make like functional sense to a local. But there's also the cost of like not only from a copy perspective, but from a resourcing perspective. And I was thinking more specifically on the dev side to like create a whole other copy of the site, and then there's a lot of overhead to maintain both of those. And now we're talking too, like if you have like 7, 8 locations, there's that technical overhead. There's like, well, you're going to hire a whole localization team, translators. There's so much effort in doing that. That theoretically, it's not an it depends from a should you do it, because functionally it makes sense to just try and localize as much as you can. But it depends more on the ROI, like is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the bit that isn't always calculated along with sort of said increase.